Okay, so we're diving into Thai villas today.
Okay.
And I've got to say, you sent over some pretty amazing material.
Oh, yeah.
It's clear that this source is really trying to sell us on the whole idea of owning a Thai villa.
Yeah.
But we're going to dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
figure out why they're so excited about it.
Exactly.
Not just, for people who want a vacation there, but
Mm.
also for folks who are thinking about investing.
Right, because there is a lot of buzz about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what's interesting here is that this source is really tapping into this global shift towards experiential living.
Yeah.
It's not just about like owning a property anymore. It's about buying into a whole lifestyle.
Right, and this source is not subtle about it.
No.
They're laying it on thick with this beachfront bliss.
Yeah.
Turquoise waters, sunsets you wouldn't believe.
I mean, who would want that?
Right, like they want you to feel that warm breeze on your face.
Exactly.
But they're not just selling a feeling.
Yeah.
They're also dropping some serious stats about these villas as investments.
Yeah, they mentioned that beachfront properties in Phuket have seen a 20% year-on-year price increase.
Wow, 20%.
Yeah, so that's attracting investors worldwide.
Yeah, that's not just a warm breeze.
No,
That's a full-on tailwind.
it is.
Now, they also talk about Koh Samui,
Great.
which they're painting as this, untouched paradise,
Mm-hmm.
still early in its development cycle.
Yeah, and I think that's appealing to a certain type of buyer.
Right.
Someone who wants to get in on the ground floor.
Exactly. And then there's Pattaya,
Oh, yeah, Pattaya.
which sounds a little bit more,
A little more adventurous.
a little more
A
wild.
little edgy.
Yeah, for those who like things a little bit more on the edge.
Exactly.
So it's interesting how they're trying to appeal to different investor profiles.
Yeah, like you said, the thrill seeker, the serenity seeker.
Yeah.
There's something for everyone.
So it's not just one kind of Thai villa experience.
Right.
There's a whole spectrum.
Depending on what you're after.
Yeah.
But let's get into the villas themselves.
Okay.
They talk about this blend of traditional and modern architecture, which honestly sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's not just a surface level trend either.
Oh, really?
This fusion of classic Thai elements with modern design.
Mm-hmm.
I think it reflects a deeper cultural shift,
Okay.
a desire to root oneself in tradition
Mm-hmm.
while embracing the contemporary.
So I'm picturing like those classic sloping roofs,
Yes.
maybe some intricate carvings.
Exactly.
But then you walk inside and it's all sleek lines and open spaces.
Precisely. And they highlight the use of natural materials as well,
Like what?
like teak wood and bamboo,
Oh, wow.
which not only adds to the aesthetic, but also speaks to the growing demand for sustainable luxury.
Right, so it's not just about looking good.
No.
It's about feeling good about your choices, too.
Exactly.
Speaking of feeling good, can we talk about the pools?
Oh, the pools? Yes,
They really emphasize these infinity pools
they do.
that seem to just merge right into the horizon. It's that sense of boundlessness, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
feeling of just like infinite space.
It's like you're swimming into the sunset every evening.
Exactly.
But let's dive into the investment side a little deeper.
Okay.
This source throws around phrases like financial gain and getting in early,
Right.
but how much of that is hype?
Well, they do mention Koh Samui and Chiang Mai
Mm-hmm.
as having strong investment potential.
Okay.
Koh Samui because it's relatively untouched compared to Phuket
Mm-hmm.
and Chiang Mai because it offers a completely different vibe.
Yeah, like what kind of vibe are we talking about?
More serene, focused on culture and history.
Okay, so not just beaches and parties.
Not just beaches and parties, no.
But they're not exactly giving us the nitty-gritty details on how to actually invest.
Right.
What about the legalities of buying property in Thailand?
Yeah.
Especially for foreigners.
And here's where the source gets a bit vague.
Okay.
They gloss over the fact that foreigners can't outright own land in Thailand.
Oh, really?
They briefly mention leasehold agreements,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really unpack what that means for a potential buyer.
So they're dangling this beautiful, profitable carrot,
Yeah.
but not really telling us how to reach it.
It's definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah, that seems a bit misleading, don't you think?
It's certainly something to be cautious about.
All right. Duly noted.
Yeah.
We'll definitely come back to this whole leasehold situation later
we should.
and break it down properly.
Absolutely.
But for now, let's get back to the villa fantasy.
Okay.
They make a big deal about these places being fully furnished.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just show up with your suitcase
Right.
and start living the dream.
That's the idea.
Now, well, that sounds super convenient, especially for foreign buyers.
Yeah.
It's worth considering the implications.
You think so?
I mean, it locks you into a specific aesthetic
That's true.
that someone else has chosen.
Yeah, you don't have much control over the design.
Right. And have you considered the freedom of designing your own space?
That's a good point.
Putting your own stamp on a place.
Yeah, making it truly feel like home.
Exactly. And speaking of making it your own, this source only really focuses on beachfront properties.
Right.
What about those who are drawn to a different kind of Thai experience?
You're right, they briefly mentioned Chiang Mai,
Yeah.
but they don't really delve into what makes it so unique.
So it's not just about escaping to the beach.
No.
It's about immersing yourself in the culture and history,
Mm-hmm.
experiencing a different pace of life.
Exactly.
So there's a whole other side to Thai villa living that they're not really exploring.
It's a different kind of escape.
Yeah, it's not just about the sun and sand.
Right.
It's about discovering a different side of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even connecting with something deeper.
And I think that ties back into the idea of experiential living.
Okay.
Choosing a location and a property that resonates with your values,
Right.
not just ticking off boxes on a luxury checklist.
Okay, I'm feeling a little more grounded now.
Good.
We've got these stunning villas with all the bells and whistles. Mm-hmm.
But we also need to remember that it's about finding the right fit,
Yes.
the place that truly speaks to you.
Absolutely.
And that might not be a beachfront paradise for everyone.
Definitely not.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What's grabbing your attention so far?
Yeah, what are you most drawn to?
Is it the investment potential, the unique architecture,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe that feeling of escape they're selling so hard?
Let us know.
And in the meantime, we'll keep digging into this source material.
Yeah.
See what other gems we can uncover.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. We'll be back soon to break down those leasehold agreements
Okay.
and explore some alternative locations that might just surprise you.
All right, looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're back, and we promised to break down these leasehold agreements.
Right?
And I'm sure you've got some questions about it.
Yeah, it's a crucial point to understand,
Yeah.
especially if you're seriously thinking about buying.
Okay.
So, as we mentioned, foreigners can't outright own land in Thailand.
So this leasehold agreement is how you kind of get around that.
So it's like a really long-term rental agreement?
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Okay.
You're essentially leasing the property from a Thai owner for a set period,
And how long are we talking?
usually up to 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a short time,
No.
but it's not forever either.
Right.
So what happens after those 30 years are up?
Well, many leasehold agreements have renewal options,
Okay.
sometimes for multiple terms.
So you could potentially keep renewing and live there for, a long time.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, so it's not like I'm going to get kicked out after 30 years.
Not necessarily, but here's the catch.
Okay.
Each lease agreement is different.
Oh.
Some might have limits on renewals
But...
or specific conditions you need to meet.
So it's not as simple as just, signing on the dotted line.
Right. There's a lot of fine print to consider.
Okay, got it.
And that's why having a good lawyer is so important.
A lawyer who understands Thai property law?
It's exactly someone who can guide you through all the intricacies.
Yeah, all right, so lawyer up.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's say I've done my homework, found a reputable developer.
Right.
The lease agreement checks out.
Okay.
What kind of lifestyle can I expect?
Well, if our source is anything to go by, it's all about embracing indoor-outdoor living.
Okay.
They mentioned these open-air pavilions called cellas.
Cellas.
Yeah. It's basically an outdoor living room
Oh, wow.
surrounded by lush greenery.
Okay, that sounds pretty idyllic.
It does, doesn't it?
A far cry from my tiny apartment with a view of a brick wall.
I could imagine.
But what about daily life?
Mm-hmm.
Is it all hammocks and fresh food, or are there, practical things to consider?
Well, depends on the level of service you're after.
Okay.
Some villa developments have full property management services.
Oh, wow.
They take care of everything,
Sure.
cleaning, maintenance, landscaping,
Wow.
even grocery shopping.
Okay, so talk about hassle-free living.
Right.
That would free up a lot of time to enjoy all that Thailand has to offer.
Exactly.
But what if I actually want to venture outside the villa walls?
Mm-hmm.
What are the surrounding areas like?
Well, that's where location comes in.
Right.
And as we've touched on, Thailand offers some pretty diverse choices.
Okay.
You've got Phuket with its nightlife markets and beaches.
Right.
If you're after a more vibrant social scene.
And then Koh Samui is more laid back.
Exactly. It's got that tranquil, untouched beauty about it.
Yeah.
And then there's Chiang Mai,
Mm-hmm.
which is nestled in the mountains of northern Thailand.
Okay. Completely different vibe.
It is, yeah.
So there's a Thai villa experience for every taste,
I think so.
from the party animal to the Zen master.
Pretty much.
But let's say I'm sold on the idea.
Okay.
I found my dream location,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm ready to start the buying process.
Right.
What's the first step?
The most important step is connecting with local experts.
Okay.
We've already talked about lawyers.
Right.
But you also need a reputable real estate agent
Okay.
who specializes in the Thai villa market.
So finding the right people to work with is crucial.
It is absolutely
I
essential.
can't just fly over there and wing it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, good advice.
You want a trusted team on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
especially for navigating the legal complexities
Right.
and the cultural nuances.
Okay, so communication is key.
Yes. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Voice any concerns.
Be clear about my expectations.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm feeling a lot more confident now about how to approach this whole process.
Good.
But let's shift gears for a moment
Okay.
and talk about those eco-friendly features we touched on earlier.
Right. The sustainable design aspects.
Are those really becoming standard in new development?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sustainable design isn't just a trend anymore.
Yeah.
It's an expectation.
Especially for luxury buyers.
Right. Especially for those who are conscious of their environmental footprint.
So it's more than just a few solar panels on the roof.
Oh yeah, much more.
Like what?
We're talking natural ventilation systems, rainwater harvesting systems,
Wow.
and even using sustainable materials like bamboo and reclaimed wood.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Not only is it good for the planet,
Mm-hmm.
but it probably creates a more beautiful and harmonious living space too, right?
Absolutely. Natural materials and thoughtful design
Yeah.
can bring a sense of tranquility
Mm-hmm.
and connection with nature.
Right. And let's be honest, that's a big part of the appeal of living in a Thai villa.
It is. It's about connecting with the environment
Yeah.
and living in a way that's sustainable.
Okay, so this sustainable approach,
Mhm.
it's not just about aesthetics, is it?
No, it's also about functionality
Okay.
and cost savings.
So being eco-friendly can actually save you money in the long run.
Exactly.
Right.
Energy-efficient appliances,
Mhm.
good natural ventilation
Yeah.
can dramatically reduce your energy bills.
Okay, that's definitely a selling point.
It is.
All right, so we've talked about sustainability,
Yeah.
but let's not forget about the fun part.
Oh, right.
We talked about customizing your villa, adding personal touches, maybe even doing some renovations.
Yeah.
Where do you see those trends going in the future?
Well, I think technology is going to play a big role.
Yeah, definitely. Smart home systems are becoming super popular.
Right. Like being able to control everything from your phone.
Exactly. Lighting, temperature, security, entertainment.
So it's not just about escaping to a simpler life.
No.
It's about integrating technology to enhance that experience.
I think so.
But beyond the tech, I think personalization will be key.
Yeah, people want their homes to reflect their individual style,
Mm-hmm.
not feel like they're stepping into a showroom.
So moving away from those cookie-cutter designs.
Exactly. Embracing a more bespoke approach.
Working with architects and designers to create unique spaces.
Yeah, spaces that tell a story, spaces that feel authentically you.
But this brings up an interesting question.
What's that?
We've talked a lot about modern design and technology,
Right.
but what about those traditional Thai elements?
Will those continue to play a role? I personally think those traditional elements are what give Thai villas their charm.
Yeah, I agree. There's a certain warmth and character.
I can't imagine them disappearing completely, can you?
I can't either.
So what do you think the future holds?
I think the future lies in finding creative ways to blend those traditional elements
Mhm.
with modern design and technology.
Okay, so striking that balance.
Yes, between authenticity and innovation.
Okay, I'm getting some serious design inspiration here.
Good.
But before we get too carried away,
Right.
let's bring it back to reality for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked about the allure of Thai villas,
Mm-hmm.
the practical aspects, the future trends.
Right.
But is this truly a viable option for the average person?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
And it really depends on your individual circumstances,
Okay.
both financial and in terms of lifestyle.
So it's important to do your research,
Yep.
weigh the pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly assess if it aligns with your goals.
Exactly. There's no right or wrong answer here.
Okay.
It's about finding what's right for you.
But even if owning a Thai villa isn't feasible right now,
Right.
the information we've discussed can still be valuable.
How so?
Well, it can inform your travel choices.
Okay.
Maybe instead of buying, you rent a villa for your next vacation.
Yeah, that's a great way to experience the lifestyle firsthand
Right.
and see if it's something you want to pursue more seriously later on.
And even if you never actually step foot in a Thai villa,
Mm-hmm.
understanding these trends gives you a broader perspective.
On global real estate, sustainable design,
Yeah.
the evolving concept of luxury.
It's all about expanding our horizons,
Absolutely.
exploring possibilities beyond our own backyards.
Well said.
Now we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What aspects of Thai villa living appeal to you most?
Is it the beachfront lifestyle?
The cultural
The
immersion?
sustainable design features?
Share your thoughts with us.
And we'll be back soon for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore something a bit more intangible,
Right.
the emotional side of what it means to call a Thai villa home.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Thai villas. So we've, explored like the ins and outs of buying one,
Right.
the trends that are shaping the market,
Hmm.
and even debated whether it's, a realistic option for the average person.
We've covered a lot of ground.
But through all of that, there's one thing we haven't really talked about.
What's that?
The feeling, the vibe, the soul of what it's actually like to live in a Thai villa.
You're talking about the emotional side of things.
Exactly.
It's not just about, like, owning a beautiful property.
Right.
It's about what it feels like to call that space home.
Like, what's it like to step into your villa after
Mhm.
a long day
Mm-hmm.
and just feel that sense of peace wash over
That
you?
sense of tranquility.
To wake up to, the sound of birdsong instead of traffic,
Right.
to be surrounded by nature, by beauty, by a sense of calm that you just can't find in a typical city apartment.
I think that's a huge part of the appeal.
Yeah.
They offer a lifestyle that prioritizes well-being and connection.
It's not just about luxury.
No.
It's about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling.
Exactly.
But how does that translate into the actual design of a villa?
Well, I think it starts with creating spaces that encourage mindfulness and connection.
Like what kind of spaces?
Open-air living areas that blur the lines between indoors and out.
Oh, so you're constantly experiencing the beauty of your surroundings.
Right. The gentle breeze, the natural light.
Like those salas we talked about earlier. I
Exactly.
can just imagine myself curled up on one of those comfy cushions,
Mhm.
sipping tea and just breathing.
And incorporating natural elements into the
Mhm.
design can enhance that sense of serenity.
Like water features,
Yeah.
lush greenery,
It's about creating a space that feels grounded and connected to the earth.
not isolated and artificial.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking natural materials,
Yeah.
open spaces, lots of greenery.
Mm-hmm.
What about color and light?
Absolutely soft, natural colors can create a sense of calm and relaxation.
And lots of natural light.
Yeah, it can make the space feel airy and spacious, uplifting.
This is making me rethink my entire approach to interior design.
I can see it.
I'm starting to see how the design of a Thai villa can actually influence your mood,
Yeah.
your well-being.
It's about creating a space that supports your overall lifestyle
Right.
and enhances your sense of peace and happiness.
It's about the energy a space evokes,
Mhm.
the feeling it inspires.
Exactly.
And I think that's what sets Thai villas apart.
They're not just about escaping to paradise.
Yeah.
They're about creating a paradise that reflects your inner world.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of Thai villas.
Okay.
We've covered so much ground from the nitty-gritty details to, the more philosophical aspects of what it means to call a Thai villa home.
We've explored the allure, the practicalities, and the possibilities.
We've weighed the pros and cons.
Debunked some myths.
And hopefully inspired you to think differently about what a dream home can be.
That's the goal.
So as we conclude this episode,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one final thought.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself stepping into your dream Thai villa.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
What do you feel?
Let those sensations guide you as you explore your options and consider whether this lifestyle is right for you.
And remember, even if owning a Thai villa isn't in your immediate future,
Yeah.
the insights we've gained can still enrich your life.
Right.
They can inspire your travels, inform your design choices, and ultimately help you create a space wherever you are that feels truly like home.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone.
We'll be back soon to explore another fascinating topic, but until then, keep dreaming, keep exploring, and keep seeking out those experiences that bring you joy and fulfillment.